Good afternoon and welcome to Body Slam Your Ears. I am C Fall. Of course, I'm with the Roman Reigns whisperer herself, Issa. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing great, but underneath time restrictions, I have to be driving a vehicle, Bluetooth style and profiling though, so hands-free, baby. But today, we're talking about some news. I'm not sure if you've heard something about Cody Rhodes, maybe, and Stone Cold Steve Austin. I don't know. Does this interest you?
Yeah, I don't know why I had to take the 2 days that the craziest news happened off, Leave it to me to time that around that. But yeah, isn't that insane? If you would have told me that the news of Stone Cold possibly returning to wrestling were going to be completely taking like second most important news of the week, I would have not believed you, but it really happened. By Tuesday morning, nobody was talking about Stone Cold anymore.
Nope. And it's insane because you go back maybe the week after Royal Rumble, crazy amount of news all week. And then the week after, we were both like, oh, it's kind of a slow news week. Blah, 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 blah. You've jinxed us. You gave us Stone Cold Steve Austin in one day and then Cody Rhodes in the next. What have you done to the wrestling world?
I have no idea, but I know we have a lot to talk about. Which one do you want to tackle first? What do you want to tackle first?
Unfortunately, you are right. Stone Cold Steve Austin, you're taking a back burner because let's talk about Cody Rhodes leaving AEW, and the rumors are he's going to WWE, but Brandi Rhodes will not be joining him.
Yeah.
To me, this is insane. Insane.
Right. It's that if you would have put money, right? Like, you know how people talk about the bingo card. I don't think I would have ever guessed Cody Rhodes ever, not being the first one, but ever leaving AEW.
That's true. Because it seemed like we talked about it before, and I'm glad people are bringing it up online. The first ever, it wasn't even AEW yet. It was their big event with Ring of Honor involved and New Japan.
All in. Yeah, all in.
All in. Like, that event alone, I think, made Cody Rhodes this new type of character. And out of nowhere, AEW pops up, and you think the pillars, I know they talk about the pillars of MJF and all that. The pillars were Cody Rhodes, the Young Bucks, and Kenny Omega.
Yep. Yeah, I remember because Kenny Omega was still under contract for like a couple of months, remember? And it took a little while for Kenny Omega to be able to announce that he was joining them as well. But those are the founders, the creators. Their event, All In, inspired, in my opinion, the creation of AEW. And I know what you mean, like the pillars. We're talking about AEW wrestlers, the faces of it. But you have the faces that created AEW, and Cody Rhodes is part of that for me.
100%. 100%. It's shocking to think, the story about Shane McMahon and being let go. I don't know if that's true anymore. But the fact is, if you think about it, that's pretty much as close as you can get to like Vince McMahon leaving his own company to go somewhere else. Because Cody Rhodes did the same thing. Like Eric Bischoff, in the middle of WCW, would be like leaving WCW for the WWF in the Monday Night Wars. It's unheard of.
It's unheard of. And the thing of it is like Cody Rhodes was an EVP. We're talking about, and Brandi Rhodes was the chief brand officer. We're talking about people that are more than just wrestling for this company. That were behind the scenes faces. And, Cody Rhodes was taking the lead on all their community outreach and everything. So it was shocking to me. I'm not the biggest Cody Rhodes fan. I've been pretty open about that here when we discuss AEW related things. But I have to say those are news that people are saying are not that big of a deal. They are wrong. That was humongous, and it probably shocked everybody that read it. In a weird way, I wasn't that shocked just because I don't want to use the terminology. You know how people say once a cheater, always a cheater. He left WWE for more. Why wouldn't he do it again? You know what I mean? But you gotta think like he was very open about wanting to leave WWE to become a bigger star. He did accomplish that. Now he can come back and prove WWE wrong because they let him go because they thought he was mid, So I think there's always something to be able to come back and prove Vince McMahon wrong. But I don't know that his intention was to come back. Maybe he was forced to that. I don't know that we'll ever hear the true story of this. I actually commented on a video that Cultaholic put out where I was like, okay, the disgruntled WWE people go on the Jericho podcast. I need to figure out what the disgruntled AEW people podcast is going to be, because I need to hear the story.
This is true. This is true, because it won't be Jericho. And I love Conrad Thompson to death, but he won't do it either.
It's going to have to be like Broken Skulls or the Corey Graves one. I don't know. It's going to be something WWE related, I would assume.
I could even see, Renee's podcast having these people on too, but I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. And of course, the stories are now coming out through every different organization that covers wrestling, where it was, Cody Rhodes wanted more money. Tony Khan was like, I'm not going to pay you the amount of money you want. He wanted to be leveled up to the CM Punks and the Bryan Danielsons. And unfortunately, Cody Rhodes, in the eyes, I guess, of Tony Khan and wrestling fans, Cody Rhodes is not Daniel Bryan. He's not CM Punk. He's not been to the mountain. But at the same time, Cody Rhodes, it's like, hello, how about a good faith? He started your company. Yeah. He helped you. Maybe you don't like the segments he was involved with, but at the same time, it's like you have to, maybe you just show that you're not committed to the people who started the company. That's what Tony Khan just showed.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, okay, so I get what you're saying, and I'm never, ever going to defend Cody Rhodes. You know that. But it's just like, there wouldn't be a mountain, right? There wouldn't be a Daniel Bryan or CM Punk mountain to climb without Cody Rhodes and the people that started the company, and get these people, get a CM Punk to consider coming out of retirement and come back. You get Bryan, who was perfectly happy and making good money at WWE, letting his contract go to come there. Like, that mountain wouldn't be there without Cody Rhodes. So in good faith, yeah, I'm with you on that. You would think that he would be taken care of, right?
Yes. I would not shot in the back of the head.
Right. What were his demands? Or B, is Tony Khan just really like, yeah, I can do this. I don't need you guys anymore. Then you need to put him in the same light that we talk about Vince McMahon, because that's something that Vince McMahon would do.
You bring up a really good point where it's like, hey, thanks for helping me build my tower, but it's already built and now it's making money. Right. And honestly, you're pissing me off because you keep telling me what to do and I'm the boss now and you're not. So, and I think that might be the case. You build a company, it's self-sustaining, it's running, it's making money, it's on TNT, it's on TBS. When it's on, it does well, the demographics, the ratings at night. It's like, Cody Rhodes, again, the only thing I think of is good faith. Just a good faith. Right. Here's some money. We're going to give you some creative leeway a little bit because you helped us, but maybe that's a point. 2 hours to a business, they're like, I'm done with you.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, that's why I told you, there's like two sides to the story. Where his demands that insane that even you as Tony Khan have to say, yeah, no, bro. Or is Tony Khan just saying, yeah, I can do this on my own. I don't need you anymore, which will make him kind of shitty, but that's actually how billionaires and millionaires get to their positions, is by not letting emotions get in the way of what they do. That's how these people function. But at the same time, you have to consider what demands was he making. I do know that I remember in the beginning, maybe Tony Khan was learning, but the face of AEW was Cody. People thought he was booking everything. Remember, every time somebody was mad, they would blame Cody Rhodes on it, and then it started becoming more and more Tony Khan. We started seeing him more. We started becoming more involved. We started realizing he's making all the decisions. And then Cody just fell to the mid-card. That's another thing. I do know that he made the whole I'm never going to challenge for the world championship thing that he made. But it's just like Cody Rhodes was never, on the beginning, he was your main event. Remember that fight he has with his brother? I love that match. But we saw him slowly just kind of go back to, I hate to say it, what he was doing in WWE while other people were getting the main event spot.
Yep, I agree. And I don't know if you watched it enough, but like ECW to me, the Tommy Dreamer is Cody Rhodes took over the Tommy Dreamer role in ECW. Doesn't want to win the championship. All he wants to do is make the company better. So if he has to go to the bottom and lose to no Joe Schmo, just get that guy over, and then he'll do it. Yeah. And maybe that hurt him. Maybe saying yes over and over and over again said, eventually you say yes enough, everyone expects you always to say yes. And if you say no, they're like, what's the matter, Cody? Why are you being so mean?
Yeah, and I know there's a lot of reports that he wasn't getting along with the EVPs. I always smelled trouble in paradise when he stopped appearing on BTE. I watched BTE every week, and he was a big part of it for a long time, and then all of a sudden he just stopped appearing,
TV show.
The Young Bucks YouTube show.
No. I'm saying Cody Rhodes had 2 TV shows. Maybe he was busy.
Yeah, I mean, no, they record that while they're back there. They record that while they're filming Dynamite. They're not really doing a lot outside.
No, of course,
you know what
I know.
mean? So,
yeah, but obviously they're talking about it. They're not just like rolling a camera and improv. They're obviously, hey, this is the scene.
Yeah. No, but like the whole point to that is like there was a lot of discussion about him not getting along with people anymore. So,
yes.
it's just like that's why I'm fascinated by this, and I would love to know the full story, but I don't know that we'll ever get the full story, because this, even if more details come out, it's gonna be a he says, she says. You know what I mean? And it's gonna be like you're gonna have to pick your side, and I don't know what side people will end up picking. I do think he'll get a huge pop if he debuts in WWE, and I do think that WWE should see this as a big win.
Huge win. If they book him in a shitty way, they're going to be regretting it for the rest of their lives. This is like a golden goose opportunity. You took one of the wrestlers from AEW, not just a wrestler, one of the biggest wrestlers, and an EVP who started the company. Yeah. You have him now. You bought him. You own him. So you know what you do with him? You actually properly book him. But I have a bad feeling, Issa, a terrible feeling, that if Cody Rhodes has to go perform at WrestleMania one-on-one match, it's going to be like Sting versus Triple H all over again, where it's like, you need to know that we're better than you, so we're going to beat you, and so everyone knows that we're better. And I have bad feeling.
I am very curious, because I can see them not wanting to make a smart business decision and being petty with the way that they book Cody Rhodes. I've seen a lot of jokes and memes about, Stardust is coming back, and have I laughed it off? Yeah, but have I said, shit, they might do that? Yeah, I have. You know what I mean? I don't know. Yeah. But I feel like Cody Rhodes has learned so much. I mean, he was producing, he was booking, he was handling, creating. He was doing a lot of things that I feel like he's going to be smarter than that. Like when it comes to his contract, I will hope that he signs something where there's an out clause if he's not happy. I will hope that he demands certain things, because I do think he's in the position to come into WWE with big dick energy and make some demands for what he's willing to do or not do.
Yep, he's a main event contender. If they bring him in as a main event contender, then everyone will believe he's a main event contender. If you bring him in and he starts to feud with the New Day, then instantly he's not gonna be a big contender. He's gonna be like how EC3 was. Like you show up, everyone has hope,
exactly,
and then it just disappears.
The best part about this is like there is obviously. Things are not perfect in any company, right? And my dog barking, of course, as always. And I feel like there's always like Cody was one that has such a loyal fan base. But when we talk a lot about the AEW fan base, it's like, if this doesn't show you that it's not all rainbows and unicorns backstage, I don't know what else will. I know that AEW is doing some things right. But you have to take a second and take a look at this situation and wonder, what the hell is going on? Did his ego get too big, or is Tony Khan that big of a douchebag? And we'll never know. We'll never know.
Maybe the latter. But then, of course, people like Wade Keller come out, and I've seen this everywhere on the PW Torch. He said, well, no one liked Brandi Rhodes backstage. Everyone hated her. She was unapproachable. But then, of course, Nyla Rose and Vicky Guerrero and Red Velvet come forward and they're like, lies. That's all lies. She was a great person. She was a nice person. So I think people are getting the on-air character confused with the real person, or we just don't know enough about what's going on backstage to know if she is a mean person to people she doesn't like.
The thing of it is, and I heard reports from multiple sources, like Fightful and other people are reporting that when you ask about the Cody Rhodes and Brandi situation, you get such a mixed response. So I feel like the whole who likes Cody and Brandi, I'm saying both of them in this particular case, is going to come down to who you ask. There was a lot of positive tweets towards Cody, not towards Brandi. You know what I mean?
Oh, no, yeah, no,
so
never.
Well, it really, it
why,
really makes you wonder.
But the reason everyone does that is because they consider her a anchor to Cody Rhodes. Right. He got this company going. Did she help backstage? Probably, but he got it going. And everyone believed the only reason she was the COO was because she was married to Cody Rhodes. No one looked at her qualifications and said, it's the perfect person. And that's unfortunate to her because I don't know her business background. And she has qualified.
A degree. Yeah, she's been to
school. So she's qualified. Yeah. But the tone of her being there is, oh, she's here because her husband's Cody Rhodes. That's the narrative.
Right.
And some people believe it and some people don't believe it.
Yeah, because it's a whole different story here. Like, if we compare him to, it sucks that Triple H is in not good health, because that will be a story written for them. Even if they did a tag match with Stephanie and Triple H and Cody and Brandi, like, that will be money at WrestleMania. But when you take a look, Stephanie is a McMahon. You know, a lot of people compare Cody and Brandi to them, and it's just like, no. Stephanie has been in the industry her whole life, where with Brandi. But you gotta remember, she was a ring announcer. I feel like she's been around the industry long enough to know what she's doing or talking about, right? I personally didn't think that she needed to become a wrestler. That's when she lost me a little bit. When I'm like, okay, you're doing, like, you're a great ballet, you're a great manager. If you're going to play that role of I'm the anchor of my husband, then play it all the way. I didn't think she needed to become that involved, but we don't know if that's something that she wanted to do, because they met because she was a ring announcer. So obviously she has some kind of interest in this industry before Cody, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. Well, she also was on that. If you remember, YouTube had a women's tag team tournament, and her and Penelope Ford. No, the Bunny made it to the finals, and then it turned out all that the tournament ended up being was promoting Brandi Rhodes' new action figure. That's all that tournament ended up being, was promoting the first series of their AEW action figures. So it's like, well, I remember that. I remember that clear as day, and that was like 2020, I believe. So there's a lot going on. We don't know all of it. All I know is if the fans of Cody Rhodes and AEW suddenly don't like him because he joined WWE, it's not a WWE versus WWE thing. It's a fan disliking WWE for their own personal reasons.
Yeah, it's like you are more of a fan of the brands than you are of the wrestler then. If you're a fan of Cody Rhodes, I would assume that you will support him anywhere that he goes. Like, for example, I mean, I enjoy most wrestling, but if you told me that Bray is going to show up on Impact, right? I'm going to give you that example. Bray Wyatt is going to show up on Impact, and he's going to be there every Thursday. I will go and watch Impact, which I never watch, because I want to support him, because I like Bray Wyatt. You know what I mean? If you're a fan of Cody, I would assume that even if you don't care about WWE, you will watch his segments, his highlights, his matches. I do think this will prove who's a fan of AEW and who's a fan of Cody Rhodes, the wrestler, and what he's done.
True. I can't agree more. I'm excited. Again, Cody Rhodes and AEW towards the end. We joked about it so many times. You know, he solved racism, and he had that awful, that segment where they were weighing each other and the ring was dipping down and Big Show didn't know what to do and the scale was broken.
I gotta tell you, for me, that's when he lost a lot of momentum. That Anthony Ogogo stuff really, really didn't do much for Cody Rhodes. From the promo to everything that went on, to the weigh-in, to the match itself, and how he killed any momentum
Remember his
that
tweets?
Anthony Ogogo had going. Yeah.
Remember Cody Rhodes' tweets where he's like, we did surveys! We did surveys!
Yeah, the focus group. I will never forget that. We put this promo through a focus group. And there is an episode of Rose to the Top that I actually watched, the only one that I have watched, because it was the episode where he was going to cut that promo. He was so excited because it was going to be so deep, blah, blah, blah. So it's just like, God. Not everything's going to be a home run, buddy. And it's
the focus groups.
The focus group, bro.
He apologized. Then he tweeted later on, like the week, he's like, all right, my bad. He didn't write my bad, but he kind of wrote a version of like, I'm sorry, but not sorry.
Yeah.
Because he knew, oh shit, this sucked.
It was bad. It was bad. And that is still, like, I sent out a tweet as a joke, and I don't even know how many likes and retweets it ended up getting. And I didn't even mention his name. All I tweeted when I heard the news was like, well, he ended racism. There's not much left for him to do here. That's what the tweet said. And he got so much freaking engagement because everybody knew exactly what I was talking about.
Oh, yeah.
He's never going to be able to downlive that moment. But I will tell you one thing. If he just shows up on WWE and cuts a crazy promo, like the one that he cut on Dynamite, like you go back and watch that last promo he cut on Dynamite before that ladder match when he said he did everything that CM Punk said he wanted to do, like that promo has such different context now, because now I feel like he was telling Tony Khan in that promo exactly why he's leaving.
Yeah, that is true. And I really hope, now I don't know if, because you said you started later on in wrestling, but there is an amazing promo from X-Pac, and X-Pac was in WCW. He had a broken neck. He got fired. So he comes back to WWF in 1998. It's the Raw after WrestleMania 14. That night before was Mike Tyson, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Shawn Michaels. Great stuff. But they let X-Pac go out there and cut the deepest, darkest shoot promo on WCW, his former employee, on his friends who worked there and how they want to get out. Hulk Hogan, Eric Bischoff, everything.
Yep.
I pray to God that I don't care where it is, when it is. I'll watch 205 Live. It's on that. I know it got canceled, though. Cody Rhodes coming out, cutting a promo for 20 minutes on Tony Khan and Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. You know how many goddamn YouTube views that's going to get?
I'm going to do reactions to every WWE show until he shows up because I want to be in front of my phone recording my reaction for when that happens. 1,000%.
It's gonna be nuts. He's gonna praise MGF as one of his younglings. He's gonna praise Darby Allin. He's gonna praise some people, but I think he's gonna shred some other individuals who he believes once were his friends.
Not only the dark promo that you're talking about, right? A lot of people are talking about how there's going to be like a fucking bidding war for MJF when his contract is up, this or that.
Of course.
There is a lot of people that love Cody Rhodes. What do you think this is going to do when their contracts are up? Do you think they follow him? Do you think it's going to open up people? You know what I mean? I do think there's some people that are going to be influenced by what Cody Rhodes just did.
Yep, they're going to call up Cody Rhodes and said, "What's the temperature there? Is it a good place?
Exactly
everyone happy?"
WWE has to book Cody Rhodes perfectly. If they really want to win other people to come over and make this a real war, right? As I do the quotations, they have to do everything perfect with Cody Rhodes, because that's way when a Jade Cargill is available, when a MJF is available, they're gonna look at that and be like, you know what? The grass is green on both sides. Let me see what I want to do.
Right, just because like Malachi Black and Keith Lee and some people weren't treated right doesn't mean everyone won't be treated right.
Can we talk about the end of Dynamite? Because I thought it was funny in a weird way, right? Because I feel like now us that cover wrestling are looking at everything with like completely different perspectives. But the fact that Dynamite ended with Andrade holding the TNT title, doesn't that make you wonder they're going to start treating the people that were like, yeah, you're not doing shit with them either, differently now?
That's still why I think
people happy.
That's still why I think that's why I gotta go. But this is exactly why I think Corey Graves got a job when he got a job, because CM Punk around that time he got the whole controversy of him getting laid off and him leaving and being a quitter and being injured. That whole story about the Z-Packs on his back and all that stuff in the bubble. Corey Graves couldn't continue wrestling either. And pretty much the whole narrative that week heading into that was Corey Graves getting laid off because if you can't wrestle, they don't need him. Right. And then the CM Punk story broke, and it was like, fuck, we can't fire someone who got hurt on our watch, just like CM Punk is doing right now on the Colt Cabana podcast. So
right.
It's the same exact scenario here with Cody Rhodes. If everyone's treated properly when he shows up, then everyone's gonna call him first and go, "Hey man, what's it like there?" Because people like the Good Brothers who left in New Japan for WWE thought, "Oh, I'm gonna come here and get more money." Turns out, yeah, you got more money, but you didn't go up. You just stayed in the middle.
Exactly. I just found that super interesting that the one person that everybody's like, you're not doing shit with him, all of a sudden it's in the title picture from out of the blue, Andrade. You know what I mean? Like, really?
Yeah.
Like, now we're gonna do this
Malachi Black.
Which
I'm
not mad about it, because I think Andrade deserves better. But I just I'm looking at Dynamite in such a different perspective. I was also waiting. I know you gotta go, but I was also waiting for the Acclaim to cut a promo, like to cut a rap on Cody, and they didn't. I'm like, okay, that's odd. I thought we were gonna see some kind of shots taken at Cody Rhodes, but they didn't. So just curious about that too.
We'll find out when Cody cuts his promo, and then the Acclaim can cut theirs, and then it'll be like, you're too late, Acclaimed, you missed it.
Yeah.
But folks, we were gonna talk about Stone Cold Steve Austin, but time has ended for me here, so I have to go. But we talked about Cody Rhodes for like 30 minutes, I think. And it was necessary. There was a lot of angles. There's still more. I could talk to you for like half an hour about this story, but I gotta go.
This could be like this could be well, we'll see. If this is going to keep playing out, we're going to be talking about this for a while, I have a feeling.
100%. And so tomorrow, depending what the news is, we'll talk about Stone Cold Steve Austin and more Cody Rhodes. But I've been Steve Fall. You can follow me on Twitter at Steve Fall. You can follow Issa everywhere. Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook.
Everywhere.
Christian Mingle. All right, folks, we're done here. Have a good one. We end the show the same way we do every day, Monday through Friday, right here. How do we do that?
Adios.
Adios.